the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment. Make it mine, hold you close. Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it?
opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it. Good evening indeed, everybody. Good evening. I just started talking to myself there without my mic turned on. Very well done, Chaz. Welcome to the penultimate round of the NEVO TCR Series here from the beautiful Red Bull Ring. And as you can see, we're here at the national configuration of the circuit. It's not the normal sweeping and hill climb-like Red Bull Ring that you're used to seeing. But still, it's a wonderful circuit all the same, and it'll be tight and close for a lot of fantastic touring car tantalising racing. My name is Chaz Draycott, and I am absolutely over the moon to have back with me in the commentary box my partner in crime, Ed May. Matthew Crisp has done a wonderful job all season, but Ed, it's great to get the gang back together once more, and, well, touring car racing, we're certainly in for a treat.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chaz, for introducing me as your partner in crime. It's probably going to be Crimes Against commentary for the remainder of the season, as I will be here for this round and the next to round out the season. Of course, as we are already aware, the season has been rounded out in terms of the championship for the pro class by Terje Flaten. He did it last time out at Zandvoort, and I mean, he has been pretty much faultless all season long. I've been watching a few of the broadcasts along when I have a spare moment too. Of course, I've been commentating other periods at this time as well on some other Tuesday nights, but thankfully I'm all free for the remainder of the season. But I mean, there has been some brilliant performances from that Ignia Motorsport now champion, and he is running, as you can see, the number 1. He's just into the pits, which is brilliant timing, so we can't see it, but he is running the number 1 championship winning number.
He is indeed, and, well, already reigning champion as well is Terje Flaten, so 2 on the bounce now. It's incredible, and he does have a bright gold machine, which we'll have a look at over the course of the night. Here is the championship standings as they are right now. Terje Flaten on 195 points. Now, this includes drop scores, so the drivers may seem like in certain places they're on less points than they were before, but bear with us on that because they have got drop scores to think about. But still, it's been a wonderful, wonderful job by Terje Flaten all season. He's just got everything right that he needed to get right, and from this point onwards he can just enjoy himself and get just some solid racing out of the way, really. I mean, it's what he does now. He says that he doesn't need to turn up for these events, but he does because he enjoys it. You know, he still turns up to them because he wants to race. That's the whole point. And he's really held a great vibe all season with that. Anyway, behind him we have Nick Clibbens on 105 points. Ignium Motorsports Preben Vala is in third on 94. Then Eystein Herfjord is on 84 points in fourth ahead of Sam Smith. Will Redford has made it into the top 10 with his amazing double victory at Zandvoort. In the AM class, Martin Shirley, top of the pile there on 120 points from Jose Scully. Now, let's not forget you get 40 points maximum over the course of a race meeting, so Martin can wrap up the title tonight if he is 40 points clear of Jose by the time the evening finishes, but we'll have to keep our eye on that. It does look like we do have both of them here this evening as well, so there will be a good fight. Reece Watt is third ahead of Mark Redford, but to be fair, they are tied on points and only 3 points clear of Ian Manners. Last but very much not least, we move on to the teams' championship standings, and it's not too close at the top. Ignium Motorsport pretty much have it wrapped up on 293 points to the 229 of iRace Esports. Simtech Racing are third with 173 points, and then right behind them it is very close. JW Motorsport only 9 points ahead of Ignium Motorsport Blaze, who are only 2 points clear of Pro Alloys Racing, who now turn up on the board because they have 2 cars now, Ed. That makes all the difference because it means that they can enter the championship as a team.
Yeah, it is, and I believe Pro Alloys Racing is the 2 Redfords, Will and Mark, the father-son pairing, and I believe both of them have had very good experience in UK club racing. I believe, I think is it Will Redford who currently races in the Civics in his.
Yes,
I think it's fair to say a little bit of a starlet in that series, isn't he? He's been performing really nicely all season long, and is certainly one to watch for the future.
Yeah, definitely. Will's a real star. You know, I first commentated on him when he was racing in the Junior Saloon Car Championship in the Citroen Saxos. Amazing little race cars, real production racing machines. They're fantastic. They're so close to the standard car, it's actually quite scary. But I met Will when he was racing in that. I helped him with some of his sort of interview techniques and media work when I was commentating on his dad, Mark, in the My Turn Racing Truck Racing Championship, which was their Sunday night truck series here on iRacing. And, you know, they're both just wonderful people, really good people to be around. And like you say, Will's been racing in the Civic Type R EP3, basically like a production touring car. The Miltech Civic Cup, I believe it is, on the BRSCC calendar, supporting TCR UK this year. And to get out with more experience in TCR cars in the sim, you may say that they're not quite realistic in the way they behave compared to what you'd expect, but it's always good just to get that little bit more experience, isn't it, if you are still trying to go up the ranks, because he's still a very young lad, is Will Redford, with a lot of potential.
Yeah, exactly, and you can only imagine that both of their experience for Pro Alloys Racing between both Will and Mark is going to help them a lot in this season in the sim. We've seen countless times drivers that race well in real life race brilliantly in the sim, and it also translates vice versa. We've seen a few drivers make that leap over from the virtual world to the real world. It's exciting to see, though, what they can do here tonight. See if they can maybe get a couple more positions up in the team's standings together. This is the man, though, that has sealed up the championship with 2 rounds of racing to go. The first one here tonight is, of course, at this wonderful Red Bull Ring. And he'll be the first driver to come across the line and start a flying lap.
I think that'll be him posting his actual flying lap. To be fair. It's a very short circuit around here. The national layout here at the Red Bull Ring, or the club layout as it's known, very short indeed. They do not make the big run up all the way up the hill, which is apparently turn 3 up there. It's almost like, it reminds me kind of like Tsukuba. When you get the short layout at Tsukuba, you have the long sweeping turn 1, and then you come straight back on yourself onto effectively what is the back straight. Now, let's not forget, we have the 2 classes out there tonight, Pro and Am. We also have a new driver joining the ranks this evening, which is Kyron O'Malley. He's racing for Sapphire Simsport. He's joined in the Civic Type R, and he's another driver that I've actually commentated on before. He races a lot on the oval side of things here on iRacing. He's not got all the experience in the world, but he's got a great following behind him of people that support him with his sim racing, and hopefully his first night in the championship goes well. Martin Shirley, second fastest at the moment for Simtech Racing, and, well, now goes fastest overall by 67 thousandths of a second. And as we've seen it, Ed, he really is the man to beat in the AM class. He's been really top level, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. As Will Redford actually goes just a little bit quicker than him. The track is certainly coming a bit more into its own, but so are the tyres as well. It's the case with these TCRs that it takes a few laps for them to get up to peak, and then you do notice quite a considerable drop off after that point. So there's a very slim window for these drivers to get their optimum lap times in, which makes it all the more exciting, I think, in these qualifying sessions, because there's a lot of prep work that needs to be done in terms of getting the tyres not just warmed up, but make sure they're not worn too much as well, because any grip you lose can really hurt you in these cars.
It really can, and it's all about that initial rotation into the corner. The TCR cars have quite this painful four-wheel drift that they do if you just hang the back end out a little bit too much, and then you get this horrible numb understeer from the front where it doesn't want to bite. I was actually testing a direct drive wheel over the weekend at a friend's house and decided to drive the TCR cars, and if I'm honest with you, I thought it'd be a real laugh because they look so lively when we see them on the broadcast, but my God, the understeer is painful, really painful in these cars. So you've got to have a lot of patience when you're racing them, and obviously dial in a good setup as well, because you want that rotation over the rear end, but you don't want too much of it to the point where you're sliding the car sideways into every corner. A little bit feisty here between Jason Morris, and that is going to be behind him, Martin Kenyon, the Yorkshire Team Machine. Maybe feeling like he was held up a bit. I love it. I absolutely love it, Martin Kenyon's car. But I think maybe he felt like he was held up a little bit there and just sort of showed a bit of pressure to Jason Morris in front of him.
Yeah, I think it's all about, though, realising, okay, you're not going to get this lap, so leave a bit of a gap, and then, you know, you can use that to catch back up into the slipstream and hopefully not catch up too much before the timing beam comes at you yet again. Taye Flaten, top of the timing sheets by quite some margin there. That is an impressive lap time. Almost 0.3 of a second quicker than the next quickest driver, Ben Hicks, who's currently second, making it an Ignium 1-2. To be fair, we've said that more than a few times this season. Rather, you have. I've not been here, but I've certainly seen that more times than I can count.
Yeah, there's been a lot of it. Ben, of course, racing for Ignium Motorsport Spark, the purple team. They've got a blue, purple and a red team within the championship. The other one is this machine, Ignium Motorsport Blaze. Hakon Ask at the wheel of this car. His teammate is not here tonight. Niles Mansanden, very entertaining to watch. It doesn't look like we've got Preben Vala with us tonight either, or Ben Hicks' teammate actually. So there's a number of them that are unfortunately missing, but still a good turnout this late in the season. We've got 16 cars. Jose Scully is second fastest in the AM class, but Will Redford goes faster than everybody by nearly another 2/10 over what Taye Flaten managed. That's amazing.
That really is, and he's been able to get a nice slipstream there by Martin Kenyon, which helped him out massively. And I think that is something that drivers have to be aware of, is the benefits that slipstream can give you, especially on a circuit that does rely quite a bit on top end. You are flat to the floor on the throttle pedal for pretty much 90% of the lap by the looks of things, because basically coming out of turn 3, you are flat out all the way around until you get to these last couple of corners. Ease it in, get nicely over that curb on the inside. Don't run too far wide, because we do have some track limits to abide by. We hear from series admin Jakub Szymanski. Wants drivers to try and keep away from the red AstroTurf if they can.
I love that on the back of Martin's car. Says, let's have a proper brew on the back of it. It's not quite the invite that you want to be following around as a racing driver, to be fair. We're all about friendly competition here, but yeah, maybe some might see that as too friendly. Interesting to see how the AMs are spread out at the moment. Martin Shirley is suddenly down in 6th place, but that's not bad at all. Jason Morris is 2nd place in the AM class, and Jose Scully is currently 3rd, and it's important for Martin to just gain those extra points on Jose. As mentioned, you get 20 points for a race victory. I don't believe you get a point for pole position, so it will be 40 points that you get over the course of a meeting as a maximum score. And going into this one, Martin had quite the advantage. He's definitely got more of an advantage now as he goes 3rd fastest out of everybody in this session. Very well done to Martin indeed. That's lovely stuff.
Yeah, Ben Hicks one to watch out for as well, as he's done a purple sector 1. He's just going to be trying to make sure he's got the car in the right window if at all possible, because again, the drivers, they're still out there on that same set of tyres, and it's all about, I think, cycling the heat through them more than anything else as well, about the wear, because if you overheat them, you do obviously get, like you said, Chaz, that horrible understeer that is plaguing these TCR cars, no matter what one you're driving. It's always the same. I remember it was horrendous in the Audi, which is why I'm not surprised to see only one driver, but while I am surprised is to see that it's doing so well in the hands of Øystein Herfjord.
Yeah, Eystein's been fantastic since he joined the series, and again another Norwegian driver that's right up there in the standings, and 5-Star Motorsport have certainly made their mark on the championship already. He won the 2 first races he did this season. One of them was gifted to him effectively after penalties, but he won the first one on the road at Watkins Glen, and it was just an excellent performance to watch. And it's exactly what we expect. You know, I'm sure we've both seen Eystein Herfjord before racing in the Porsche Cup car here on iRacing. He's very, very fast in as well. He was in the NEVO European Porsche Cup Series, and he was excellent in that. Now, I've only just realised, Ed, we've only got a minute left of qualifying now, and because it's a heat racing session, as it's known in iRacing, it will end instantly when we hit 10 minutes. So people now will be on their final laps.
Yeah, they will be. And Martin Shirley is just going through the final couple of corners and doesn't look likely to be improving this time by. So third is probably his best position. We'll hope for a little bit more as Terje Flaten in the dying embers does go quicker than Will Redford to top the timing sheets. But for how much longer? Because is Will Redford going to be on a lap? He's just on a purple sector 2. Is that enough to put him ahead of Terje Flaten? No, not quite. Not appearing up any faster, unfortunately, there for Will Redford. So he's going to have to settle for second place, but potentially a front row start for the Pro Alloys Racing driver. And I believe, Chaz, correct me if I'm wrong, that might be his best start of the season.
Yeah, lovely stuff by Will. He didn't have the best qualifying at Zandvoort, but he showed that he had amazing pace to go on and win the race. So, we're going to get our first race of the night underway. Terje Flaten will start on pole position once again with Will Redford alongside him. Really looking forward to what these two can do together. Martin Shirley in the AM class, third overall. Fantastic qualifying by Martin as ever. Eystein Herfjord joins him on row 2. Ben Hicks and Nick Clibbens make up row 3. Hakon Ask and Mark Redford are row 4, ahead of Sam Smith and Jason Morris. Then we have Ben Gregory in 11th, Reese Watt in 12th. Jose Scully isn't even in 13th. He's down in 14th place behind Ian Manners. Kyron O'Malley and Martin Kenyon make up the back row of the grid. So a big gap there in the AM Championship, Ed, and that's definitely something that we've got to keep our eye on here, because Jose Scully in the white and red ATRS Esports Civic will certainly be trying his very best to make up that gap, and he's under a bit more pressure now with Martin Shirley starting so far forward.
Yeah, he is. Martin is obviously just going to be aware of hanging on as best he can to this position. He's going to be so aware of the fact that he's got some quick drivers in behind the likes of Eystein Herfjord, Ben Hicks, Nick Clibbens as well, who's up there in the championship as it stands in the pro class, is likely to be a driver that will want to get past Martin as quickly as possible. Of course, they don't lose any points because they get points relative to where they finish in class.
Absolutely. There's plenty to keep our eye on. Excuse me, apologies. Definitely got something in my throat today. Steady. So, Eystein Herfjord is the last car that we wait to see line up on the grid. He's just going to be on the right-hand side of the shot there, next to Martin Shirley, who qualified very well third on the grid. That's a fantastic performance. And boop, there's Eystein Herfjord. And we're about to get the race underway. This is going to be round 13 of the NEVO TCR Series from the Red Bull Ring in Austria. And we're underway. The lights are not on red for very long at all. Hakon Ask gets a bucket load of wheel spin. Martin Shirley's gone backwards, and Eystein Herfjord straight to the front, moves alongside Will Redford. There's a bit of a rub. He goes this way and that way. Eystein's giving him absolutely nothing there. Moves around the outside of him and into second place. It was very demanding stuff. Sounds like a bit of argy-bargy in the middle of the field. Ben Gregory and Jason Morris getting acquainted. It's 3 wide further up, though. Sorry, that was Mark Redford, not Will Redford. He's in the middle. Martin Shirley on the outside, and Martin Shirley's gone backwards in these opening corners in the AM class, and through has gone Nick Clibbens and Sam Smith and Mark Redford, who now takes the lead of the AM class. Eystein Herfjord's got Will Redford all over him, and to be fair, Ed, after that opening encounter, I can't imagine that Will's going to be too kind to him. Let's just hope it doesn't end in tears. No,
that was a perfect start. That was textbook by Mark Redford to go to the top of the AM classes. Look at this, Eystein Herfjord again banging doors. These two are certainly getting at each other there, hammer and tongs all the way through this first lap, giving plenty of room for Terje Flaten to work with. And after that little hip check, I think it's fair to say it was between Herfjord and Redford in towards turn 1. It is Herfjord with the upper hand. I think it's 1-0 to Eystein right now, but will it be even, or will it be going to extra time and penalties come the end of tonight? We shall see. It's been excellent in this midfield pack as well. Jose School right up there trying to get ahead of Jason Morris, who is fighting round the outside, but now getting the inside. This is ever so close, but I think he's going to struggle. Oh my word, I thought they were going to go through wide. No,
Yeah.
he's going to be perfectly fine. Yeah, I thought he was going to struggle a bit there because the way the track bends left and bends right can easily catch drivers out, but thankfully they've got very, very aware heads about them.
Oh, a bit sideways there was Jason Morris. Actually, there's a car off. It's Ben Hicks, and he's gone way off the road. And even more rejoins, though. But Jose Scully, I was focusing on him there because he's had an amazing start. I think he might have just got a slowdown penalty, though. And he really did catch up to some of the front runners in the AM class. Mark Redford had a slowdown penalty the lap before last. And now look at it all in the background kicking off. Reece Watts in there as well with Ben Hicks. Down the inside goes Martin Kenyon on the three of them. Oh, Martin throws it down the inside, sideways through turn one. It's very impressive, but it's not going to earn him a lot of friends in that manoeuvre. He managed to keep it on the road, though, and Ben Hicks now has to try and survive, as down the inside is still Reece Watt. Him and his teammate have been amazing to watch in the latter parts of the championship, as Eystein Herfjord is off the road, and, well, I think we can maybe place a few bets here as to what's happened between him and potentially a young Redford. Oh, man.
I think that's Eystein just...
Maybe
I'm not sure what
overcorrecting.
happened there. I think what it is that he tries to take a wider line into the corner than he needs to. Yeah, he's trying to open up the corner. You can see he's trying to open it up, but he's not aware that the car on the right-hand side, Redford, is occupying that spot. We'll have a look through here. So he gets wide, out of shape, and Will says, well, thank you very much. He's not going to take a second look at that. He's going to go straight for it. And for me, I think that was just... he made a mistake and then came off worse from it.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't look great from that angle, did it? But no. I think to be honest, what happened, like you say, is he just tried to open up the corner, maybe just didn't get off the lock quick enough, and went one way and then the other very, very suddenly. But this is Mark Redford now, and he doesn't need to have this going on, to be honest with you. He's got Ben Gregory with him, who's in the pro class, and at the moment, Mark is leading the AM class. He doesn't want to have to fight with anybody, and Ben really won't want this as well, but there's not enough room for two of them around there. Ben hits the curb, runs a little bit wide, contact with Redford. Got Paladin and White Van Gaming in the chat. Great to see you both. Wonderful friends of mine from the world of circuit superstars. And Paladin, a teammate of mine at VR Autosports, actually won the ICSTC Championship just last week, so very well done to Paladin. He's a wonderful lad and very, very fast as well. But now, almost 2x2 again, as Redford now having to defend his lead in the AM class from another pro driver coming through here, Ed. That's Hakon Ask, and surely he's going to ask nicely to come through and then see whether he can get down the inside and make some moves.
I'm not sure if he's going to be getting the reply he was hoping for if he does ask nicely, because you can be certain that Mark Redford will want to have that buffer between himself and his AM rival, Martin Shirley. Those two fighting out for the top spot in the AM class. As you can see at the top of your screens, it's occupied by Mark Redford at this moment in time. Mark had a brilliant start to this race. Like I said, it was virtually textbook the way he was able to carve his way through and get ahead. But this was Jason Morris going slowly out of turn one, coming to a stop.
Big damage on the inside front right of that car. Maybe a bit of wheel banging here, and that's caused it. Oh no, Martin Kenyon loses the back end into turn one, and it's broken the steering on Jason's car. And unfortunately, it was just a little bit of a scrappy mistake there from Martin, and it's not the first time he's made that mistake tonight, I'm afraid. So he's certainly not going to. He's not going to be writing his postcards from turn one, is he, this weekend?
No, but I'll tell you, these first 5 minutes, if you look up in the dictionary, this is going to be the definition of a touring car race.
Oh, God, yeah.
This has been absolutely manic from start until now, and it will probably carry on until the finish, because look at this, Martin Shirley is close up, but he close up too quickly and isn't able to get on the power. There's that classic understeer creeping in. He isn't able to get on power because it will just understeer wider and give him a slowdown penalty. And look at how much he's lost out just from that one mistake.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy how quickly that gap opens up, and all of a sudden Mark Redford is off in the distance. Jose Scully is still in third place, but he's losing points to Martin Shirley as this stands. In terms of the championship points per race, you get 20 for a race win, and that's in your class as well, 15 for second and then 12 for third.
Someone's slowing through turn three.
Yeah, I can hear that. Someone was having a right old moment. I'd put money on it being Martin Kenyon, to be honest. Vaden off for Kyron O'Malley. Oh, just over-rotates on the way into the corner. Clips the curb on his way around. And, yep, there's the offending Martin Kenyon with a big old drift. Wow.
To be fair, if there is any car that is going to have that over-rotation, it is likely to be the Civic. It had a bit of a problem when it came out onto the RAC service of a bit of a, what we called a pogo stick rear end, where as soon as you got a little bit of a bump on and the springs would sort of overreact, and it'd be bouncing along, bouncing at the rear end and cause so much instability that it just is so likely to just over-rotate. It's been dialed out a bit by iRacing, but some of that still lingers, and I think that might have been what caught out Kyron O'Malley there.
Not quite sure what's happening overlay-wise, but it seems to still think that we're looking at Kyron on a replay at the moment, so apologies, but I'm trying to fix that by changing to different drivers, and, well, as you can see...
for me, but it was a little bit of a hiccup earlier as well, so I think that might have been SDK having a hiccup on both our ends, but now it does seem to have resolved itself. It fixes itself after about 5 or so minutes or seconds, depending on...
I was going to say, that was a quick 5 minutes, but to be honest, I wouldn't tell the missus. Right then, Mark Redford, 6th at the moment outright, and he has still got pressure from Hakon Ask behind him, and this is the thing, he can't just let him go, as Reese Watt, well, effectively takes championship points away from Jose Scully and his fellow Civic driver. They are glued to each other out of turn 1. Jose wiping the vinyl off the back of Reese Watt's JW Motorsport Civic, keeps his nose down the inside. Reese has to compromise for it, but he's going to get a good run on the exit there because he's inadvertently opened up the corner. Let's just check at the front. Yep, still there. Go back to this then. Reese Watt, 3 places gained from where he started in this race. Jose Scully has gained 4, but Ben Gregory again on one of his amazing drives through the field up into 5th place. He started 11th, he's gained 6 spots. Man ahead of him, Sam Smith, he's gained 5 spots as well. We've seen a number of drivers do this season, haven't we, Ed, where they've just not quite under the radar, but they've just slipped up the order bit by bit, and they've had a fantastic night of it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this about Ben Gregory, is that he never qualifies well. I think he's one that would admit to you that he's just not really up there when it comes to qualifying pace, but in the race he comes alive. Most recently he did win the World GT Touring Car Championship in the AM class, so he's a very capable driver when it comes to racing cleanly, or well, sometimes not so cleanly if it's the case in World GT, but he's a driver that we do know can compete at a top level. Shame his qualifying isn't quite there, but in the race you can just see he's been absolutely electric in terms of keeping himself out of trouble, but keeping himself consistently quick as well, and maybe even reeling in Sam Smith. I've been looking at other things as well. I thought for a second Nick Clibbins was reeling in Will Redford, but that gap has suddenly opened out, so Will has probably responded with some quick laps, as you can see there. Yes, he certainly has, as he's going faster just a touch than Tony Flauten, but actually Nick Clibbins slightly quicker as well. Sam Smith, though, fastest driver on track if we look at their recent lap times.
Yeah, Sam Smith doing last time round a 55.21. All the guys ahead of him were slower. It was a 54. Sorry, no, actually 54.5s for Tony Flauten and Will Redford. So they were 7/10 quicker, but yeah, he was quicker than his teammate ahead of him at least. We've still got battles going on here as Martin Shirley has now taken the lead in the AM class. So Martin has got the move done somewhere. Let's have a quick look. Hakon Ask got past Mark Redford, and I think Mark wanted to try and brake as late as he dared. Mark went straight back for the apex there. I'm not sure if he knew that Martin was alongside him, but it was a little bit scrappy, and luckily they both survived it though. That's the main thing.
Look, I think Mark thought the corner was his, and then as soon as the contact was made, he, I guess, sort of realised at that late point that it was left the gap just too wide open. But I mean, there was thankfully no major damage. These TCR cars can take a bit of a beating, as we've already seen tonight and throughout numerous rounds of this season. Mark Redford currently trying to get ahead of Martin Shirley, because that's going to help him out massively in the championship with his rival. There would be finishing in 4th as it stands.
Yeah,
see him there just in the rear end of the shot though. He is closing in.
Yeah, Jose Scully, you can never count him out really. He's been one of those drivers that sort of, he's bobbed up and down in the standings. He didn't score any points in the first race meeting at the Hungaroring, but then straight away in the second race meeting he took a class victory. But then the race after that, no points again. Then he scored 2 podiums, and then at the next race meeting, no points whatsoever. And since then, he's been second in class in every single race. So he's had a very inconsistent campaign, but when he has been finishing races, he's been on the podium every time.
So even his consistency is inconsistent.
Yeah,
His
exactly.
Inconsistency at the start of the season.
Yeah,
so
that's
he's
it.
consistently inconsistent, and now he's going to be hoping that the sort of mid to late season, where he has been consistent, won't become inconsistent.
Exactly, I think. Anyway, got further up, Ben Gregory is now actually catching up with Sam Smith. There's only 0.3 of a second between the two of them. Ben Gregory was only about a tenth and a bit faster last time round, but it all adds up if you can keep that pace going. And wow, Ben looks very quick into the second to last corner here as they go down the hill. This is called Red Bull Mobile, this final corner. Round they go, flicking up the dust that comes up from underneath that curb, and Ben Gregory gets one hell of a run. Moves out to the right hand side. It's Veloster versus Veloster, and the rainbow coloured boosted machine with the beautiful black visor painted on the front moves up into 4th position, but they are some 12 seconds down on the race leader. Oh, Ben gives room though, moves over to the right hand side, and Sam Smith's got a really good run there. He's going to be on the outside for the next 2 corners. That's going to be on the inside after that if he can carry the speed around. He's trying to swoop through, needs to give Gregory the space, and he's done it, and he's still down the inside. There's a little bit of contact, argy-bargy, door to door, but Ben Gregory ultimately is going to get this done, and Hakon Ask suddenly comes into the picture.
This is brilliant. This is for 4th place. This battling is allowing Nick Clibbins to run away with things, and Nick has actually started to close back into Will Redford. That gap hanging around that 1 second mark as we get towards the halfway stage of the race, or just past the halfway stage of this race. Plenty for these drivers to fight and contend for, but at the moment, Ben Gregory is the head of this 3-car train that could quickly become a 4-car train, as Martin Shirley there is breaking away from Mark Redford.
Oh, Jose Scully headbutting Reese Watt around turn 1, and it suddenly gives Reese this big push to go then chasing after Mark Redford. This is for 2nd place in the AM class. All important championship points here, is, let's not forget, Reese Watt and Mark Redford. These two are actually tied on championship points as well, 97 apiece for these pairs, so they've got their own fight away from Jose Scully and Martin Shirley, so they're going to probably throw caution to the wind when it comes to affecting the other battle and just get on with their own. So there's a lot to think about, a lot of battles that could all affect each other here. Taylor Flatten does a 54.398, fastest lap of the race. Amazing pace from him. Will Redford just can't match him at this moment in time. I think that early battle between Will and Eystein, oh God.
I thought we were seeing what into the wall there. That was heart and mouth stuff. I've never seen a TCR car react that violently out of the final corner at Red Bull Ring. He has to slot in behind Ben Hicks there. He loses so much time down the start-finish straight. I say, you know, yet one more position gain for Scully to help him out in the championship.
Does indeed, as Reese Watt now has a go and passes Ben Hicks. Ben was very fast last time out at Zandvoort, but unfortunately here doesn't seem to be able to make the progress that he'd want. He's in 11th place and he's lost 6 positions from where he started, so not a great start to Ben's night at all. We're 15 minutes of the way through the race, give or take. Unfortunately, we will not be seeing Jason Morris for the rest of the evening. He said that he's left a server and he's not too happy, as you can imagine, with the big contact that he had before, but he's not looking to give the second race a go, I'm afraid. Eystein Herfjord is still giving it a go, though. He's still out there, so fair play to him. He's still pushing, and he still realises that there's less than 10 cars in the pro field, so he can still grab a couple of championship points, maybe move up a position or two before the end. Kyron O'Malley is in the pits and is just about to come back out. But Taylor Flatten, well, he's got the gold on his car for the final couple of race meetings, considering that he's double champion now, Ed, and he's driving it like it is made of gold, isn't he? He's just absolutely caressing it around the circuit so far.
Yeah, he is, but not slowly caressing, is he? He's really pretty quick round here.
Oh no, but he's
54.2.
He's kicking its head in lovingly.
Yeah, buying it dinner and then kicking its head in, I think, is what we've seen from Taylor Flatten, and he's certainly a 5-course meal, 5 stars as well for this man, Taylor Flatten. He's got so much time. 9 minutes to go in this race. 4 seconds advantage already to Will Redford in behind. You can just see him there in the shot. But we're going to come to this as Scully has gotten ahead of Mark Redford, but Hakon Ask has got ahead of everyone throughout this little battle.
Yeah, Martin Shirley overtook Hakon Ask, and then all of a sudden it's kicked off. So that we're going to stick with this for a minute.
So Hakon Ask actually had a slowdown, I think.
Yeah, he has a slowdown there near the end of the lap, but then... Oh, Martin Shirley was already gone, sorry, at this point. And then Mark Redford got past Hakon. And then this is where they all held each other up, and Jose Scully is going to benefit from this one, so keep an eye on him. Mark sends it down the inside, runs deep, and Jose says thank you very much. We are going to have another look at this, though, because Jose Scully has just been off the road and has been overtaken by Mark Redford. Hopefully no contact here. And just a tiny bit of a door bang on the way through, but the understeer there is massive, and wow, they got lucky there not to have a further incident, to be honest. But
I don't know if that gave Scully a slowdown, because he was forced very wide off onto the sort of red AstroTurf through that second to last corner. I think he's been able to get away with it, maybe just about. He is obviously still ahead of Reese Watt, who has Ben Hicks for company. Ben was quite high up the order until his I'm not sure what we actually saw him. We did see him very wide out of that final bend, didn't we, on the run into it, but I don't know what actually caused it. I don't know if I think we caught a replay of what happened, but it was right at the start of the race, and he's fighting up now to try and get into the top 10.
yeah, I think sometimes it's interesting how these cars behave sometimes, the way they bounce, they really do get upset by curbs. Like you say, you don't really expect to see them react like that or behave in a certain way, where they really do get upset by curbs, because TCR cars and touring cars, especially modern touring cars, they absorb curbs like they're not even there. It's their specialty. But to be honest with you, it was probably as much of a surprise to him as it was to us.
Interesting. I was watching the TCR race that was I think it was Bahrain just last weekend, and I was quite amazed by the fact they weren't really razzing it that hard over the curbs. I think it might have been essentially just how the curbs were at that specific circuit, but they weren't attacking it as much as I was expecting them to. So maybe that's something that's been translated into iRacing, but what's certainly been translated on the track is the pace of Tayo Flaherty yet to get another quick lap. But I've been seeing Flaherty put in these purple times. Somehow Redford's closed that gap down to about 3.5 seconds rather than 4.
Well, actually, Will Redford did the fastest lap of the race last time round. He did a 54.24. But a purple sector one from Nick Klebans on this lap as well. So clearly some of these guys really looking after their tyres. And in the latter stages of this race, it's going to get spicy indeed with these gaps. They are disappearing. I mean, we've got just under 6 minutes left of this race to go now. And, well, anything could still happen. We've seen mistakes before. Martin Shirley's got a bit of a healthy advantage now in the lead of the AM category. And to be honest, he's had quite the fight to just stay where he is, really. He's lost 3 places from where he started. Qualified 3rd on the grid, but theoretically he's not lost any places because he's still leading the AM class, and that's what matters in terms of championship points. His rival Jose Scully is 3rd in class behind Mark Redford, and he's going to be doing everything he can to get back ahead, because if Martin was 2nd and Jose was 3rd, he'd lose 3 points to him over the course of this race. With where he is now, with Martin leading the class, he's losing 8 points to him, and that would extend the gap to 25 points. Oh, sorry, no, it wouldn't. It would be 21 points between the two of them. And, well, it's 20 points for a win, so if he can have an entire race victories advantage over him going into the final race meeting, then that would make Martin a very happy boy.
Certainly would. Tayo Flaherty's a very happy boy, as he's just done another purple lap time, quicker than Will Redford by about 10th of a second on that last lap. Shirley doing all he needs to hold on to this AM class victory, even though he's got a driver in behind Hakon Ask. That is not for class position, so he can afford to let the pro driver by if he feels he would lose time battling. But as it stands, he's in the perfect position to extend his championship lead into these final few races. Basically, after this, there's only 3 more races to go across the whole season, so 60 points on offer after this one as it stands, with Martin Shirley gaining the maximum 20. does put him in the perfect spot to try and secure it. But we have seen championships flip a lot quicker than that. I believe in the NEVO F4s, we've seen that occur.
Oh, God.
Right at the end. That was dramatic to say the least, wasn't it?
I could not handle that final race meeting. If you haven't seen that before, by the way, the NEVO F4 series that we had just earlier this year, go and watch the final race meeting at Alton Park. It was an absolute mind blower. It was phenomenal entertainment, considering that one championship had been dominated all season by one driver, and then somehow it got turned around and came down to the last race. I can still not believe that, to be honest with you, but still. I think Nick Clibbens has had an issue somewhere, because he was only 3 and a bit seconds off the back of Will Redford before, and all of a sudden now the gap is 5.8 seconds. Will Redford does the fastest lap of the race, 54.109. Him and Taylor Flatten are just trading lap times right now, to be fair, Ed. It's not going to come to much in the end because their pace is so similar, but every lap they're a good 3 or 4 tenths faster than everyone else behind them.
I'd say they're fighting for the bonus point for fastest lap, but I don't know if that is a point that you get in this series. I don't think so. So they're just fighting for pride more than anything else. With Redford, though, this could be a matter of what if, because he lost so much time, didn't he, battling early on with Erstein Herfjord, losing out at the start. I think really kneecapped his chances of getting that race victory. We've already seen him scrap with Taye Flatten before this season, and we'll probably see it again later tonight in the second race of the evening. With times like that, we certainly will. Redford, wow, what a lap time that is.
53.946. That is disgusting pace. Absolutely disgusting pace, to be honest with you. I'm not sure how he's managed to pull that one out of the bag, especially without Slipstream as well. That is remarkable. So further back, we've got Martin Shirley just ahead of Hakon Ask, and then the second place battle in Am is still going on here because Mark Redford is trying to hold off Jose Scully, and well, he's not doing a great job of it there. Reese Watt goes for the gap in the middle, and it just closes around him, but luckily they get away with that. The three of them rattle off each other. Jose Scully now moves up a position, gains 3 more championship points back. But Mark needs to be careful because he's got Reese Watt right behind him, and those two are tied on points coming into this race. So this is getting proper feisty right now. Now, points, let's not forget, do not get completely counted until after penalties and all sorts are considered. But we have had, as you called it before, Ed, some proper touring car racing in this encounter. We've got just under a minute. Well, just over a minute. Well, now we've got a minute. Now we've got under a minute. There you go. How about that? It's round the outside. Mark Redford, final corner. What a move, Sunshine. He's got it done. Wow.
Yeah, he has, but he's in probably one of the worst positions to start. What could be the final lap of the race on.
I think we'll have one more.
Your rival right behind. I think they might have one more. And the slipstream is very strong in these TCR cars. It keeps them close together, and when they are even close together like they are now, it allows them to scrap and send diving moves up the inside. But Scully's very smart. He knows when to give it up and when to go for it, and he's going for it now. All the way around the outside, though, through this left-hander, it's going to be tricky to pull off a move. Instead, he's going to be worried about having a move pulled on him by Reese Watt. I think if Reese is sensible, he would back out of this one, but he's going to go for it, you know, never mind. He can see a chance for it. Why not, eh? They're battling side by side. But now, will we see Scully do what Mark did a little while earlier and swing all the way around the outside? They'll have the advantage of a slipstream all the way up to the line, but due to all of this squabbling, that's suddenly given Redford a big advantage to hang on to this second place in class.
Is indeed. We need to look further down the order, though, I'm afraid, while these two continue to bang doors. Taylor Flatten is going to come around the final corner, and he's going to take what is going to be his 10th race victory of the season out of 13 races. Taylor Flatten wins the first race of the night at Red Bull Ring. Will Redford finishes second. There is. Nick Clibbens is going to get a podium, and Will Redford final lap 53.894. That is vile behaviour, but GG Sunshine. Nick Clibbens ahead of Ben Gregory, who is going to beat Sam Smith to the line, and then just behind them, holding on for the AM class win, Martin Shirley. What a great performance that is. And who's going to get the next position up? Because Mark Redford is clear. Reese Watt is behind him, and he's ahead
of Scully.
Of Jose Scully. He's done it. He has done it before the end, and well, Jose Scully loses yet more championship points to Martin Shirley. That is big, big stuff for the AM Championship. And well, when Martin finds out the news, he is going to be very pleased. And that's going to certainly take some of the pressure off with just a couple more races to go, Ed.
That certainly will do, but it's not over until it is over, of course. We have seen, like we mentioned, Championship swing one way then the other, but that was a brilliant first race of the evening to kick off the action here at the Red Bull Ring. Had everything, didn't it? Proper touring car style scrapping at the start, but here we go, Chaz, the results of Heat 1.
That was an absolute corker. Terje Flaten takes another race win. Like I say, that's his 10th of the season. There's only one race that he's been on track for where he hasn't won. It's been pretty remarkable, to be honest with you. Martin Shirley finishes in... it's just come up as second on my timing screen. Will Redford finishes in second place ahead of Nick Clibbens. Great podium for both of those drivers. Ben Gregory up to fourth place. Great recovery by him and Sam Smith as well, to be fair. Martin Shirley wins the AM class. Very important win for him, that one. Hakon Ask finishes seventh after a fantastic race-long scrap with a bunch of the AM drivers. Mark Redford was next up. Reese Watt in ninth, and then Jose Scully. Well, 10th place and fourth in class is not what he would have wanted. That's actually, somehow, his lowest point scoring position of the season. Ben Hicks finishes 11th out, right ahead of Ian Manners in 12th. Martin Kenyon was 13th. And then the drivers one lap down or more were Eistan Herfjord, Kyron O'Malley, and Jason Morris, unfortunately retiring after getting, well, there's no other word for it, clarted earlier on in the session. So we've got drivers doing our usual warm-up session now. Ed and I are just going to take a quick few-minute break while the warm-up session is on, and we will be back with you here on Chaz Draycott Media for the NEVO TCR Series in just a few minutes' time. We'll see you in a sec. Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Ed May here for the NEVO TCR Series from the Red Bull Ring. We hope you're having a wonderful evening. We certainly are. It's been a fantastic night so far of racing. Great entertainment, Ed. And very quickly, before we get into this next race, what are you expecting to see now? We get the top 6 reversed on the grid, so not a lot of them, but it's still enough to make things spicy at the front.
More of the same, you'd imagine, wouldn't you? There would be more of the same. I mean, it's a shame to see Justine Herfjord isn't right up the front there with Will Redford, because that was a fight I'd love to see a round 2 of. It was brilliant, wasn't it, Chaz, at those opening few laps that sadly came to a swift end, but they're so evenly matched on pace. It's one that I hope we might be able to see before the end of the night.
Hopefully so, mate. I'm with you on that one. Martin Shirley's 6th place in that first race means that he will start on pole position alongside Sam Smith. Ben Gregory and Nick Clibbens make up row 2, with Will Redford and Taylor Flatten on row 3. Then we have the rest of the field as they finish race 1. Hakon Ask and Mark Redford, Reece Watt and Jose Scully, Ben Hicks alongside Ian Manners, Martin Kenyon and Eystein Herfjord, watch out for him coming back through the order, Kyron O'Malley and Jason Morris make up the back row of the grid. And we're just about to get things underway then for round 14 of the NEVO TCR Series from the Red Bull Ring. And we are underway. The 2 iRace Esports cars on the right-hand side of the grid make quite an even start. Gregory comes over to the middle slightly, meets Nick Clibbens there as well, but Sam Smith's going to go for the lead down the inside of Martin Shirley. Martin, you can guarantee it, is going to take it nice and tidy here in the opening stages as someone's had contact and gone sideways. There's a car way off the circuit. It's Hakon Ask. Yeah, he's come back on from a long way out. And now he's going to try and survive potential 3 wide as Eystein Herfjord goes down the inside. He's hit Jose Scully. Oh, it's all a little bit scrappy. And Eystein's driven into someone. Well, he turned into the side of the Civic in front of him. I think he hit the side of Reece Watt. And to be honest with you, it just looked a little bit scrappy from Eystein. He caused all of that.
I think it was Scully still side by side with him, and it was on the inside, and he just sort of got looped around. But that's what happens when you dive far too deep and far too late on the open lap with cold tyres, cold brakes. It was never going to work.
Yeah, I think, well, to be honest, I think Reece Watt was on his inside and then Jose was on his left, so he hit the side of Reece Watt, and then obviously Jose tried to turn in as well, and that's what put him over to that side of the circuit. So lap 1 is complete, just about. Sam Smith leads the way, Ben Gregory is next up, then it's Will Redford. Taylor Flatten goes past Martin Shirley, who still leads the AM class, and he will hope to continue to do that all the way through. Mark Redford's 2 cars back. Nick Clibbens wants to make a move and go forward as well, because he does not want to lose touch with Taylor Flatten, who won that first race. You can see the lead train even from back here. It looked like Sam Smith is coming under pressure now from Ben Gregory. The 2 of them side by side for the race lead. You can guarantee that Will Redford's going to try and benefit from this as well. He's on the right hand side of Gregory, who moves him all the way over to the right hand side of the track, but Will's not going to let him get away with it. Oh, it didn't need to happen. It did not need to happen. Well, it didn't look great on Will. He turned left when he really didn't have to. Maybe just wanting to open up that second to last corner a little bit more. But to be honest, Ben didn't need to put him all the way over there in the first place. And it was just, it's all a bit unnecessary when you're in a straight line like that, isn't it? We see it quite a lot, unfortunately. And, well, that's a real shame.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about this, Ben, I mean, I know he doesn't, but it would be bad if he was using VR, because the amount that car spun, it'd be absolutely horrendous. Let's have a look there. Oh, for me, they look like they sort of both move towards the same piece of track. I'm not sure if that... Yeah. It doesn't look good for Will. Doesn't necessarily cover Ben in too much glory either. Yeah, I don't particularly... Oh, this is an entire lap before that. I don't particularly think it was worse for one or the other, really. Ben didn't need to put him over there. No. Will didn't need to turn left. I think that's the simplest way of looking at it. Taylor Flatten, I think, has just had a slowdown penalty because he's going very slowly into the second to last corner. Martin Shirley's gone past him, and now look at this. Mark Redford wants a piece of this battle instead now. He's side by side with Nick Clibbens. He's not bothered about having pro drivers between himself and his AM Championship rival. He just wants to get to the front as quickly as possible. Taylor Flatten can't turn in because Mark's there. Great awareness by Taylor Flatten as well. Mark just leaves it a little bit too wide on the exit, and again there's a couple of drivers that do that. They let the car wash out a little bit more than they should, and more contact happens on corner exit. He was forced too narrow, I think, in towards turn 1. At that point, you need to back out of the move. We saw that at the weekend, didn't we, actually, at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. When you're forced too tightly into a corner, you know you're not going to make it without making contact. Should probably take discretion being the better part of valor in that situation. This was the start, and it was Erstein Herfjord just far too deep in. You're right, Chaz, he did get a tap in the front, but also got a tap in the rear, and that was just trapped in, completely stuffed, and, well, stuffed into a wall right afterwards.
Yeah, he went down the inside, and I mean, they were 3 wide in both scenarios, so there wasn't really much space for any of the drivers to move, you know, and there's been a comment in the YouTube chat, and quite a correct one, I think. A-Stein's just a little bit too on the edge all the time, you know, you don't need to be making those moves instantly. He's got so much pace over a lot of the drivers in this field, you know, no disrespect to any of them, of course, but they all know just how fast A-Stein is. He could easily get past most of them in a 25-minute race, you know, he doesn't need to make the move like that at turn 1. And turn 2, you know, it's all about patience, even in touring car racing, especially when it's a 25-minute race. But still, it's the drivers making their own decisions, and we have to live with that. Will Redford continues on. Ben Gregory, I'm sure, will not be too happy, but he's also carrying on in the race for championship points' sake. And now, Reece Watt is all over the back of Mark Redford, but somehow through all of this, Ian Manners has crept his way up the order and leads the AM class. Fair play to Ian in the 52 racing machine, because that is a top job. As oh no, there's more contact going on here. The Redfords are ganging up on Reece Watt.
Yeah. If it's not one Redford, it's the other. I think that was Mark Redford on that occasion. Oh my word, it was Will Redford's now ahead of Mark Redford throughout all of this. I think they managed to invert the positions between the two of them without too much drama. So Mark knows that Will is a bit quicker being in the pro class and will hopefully carve a path for him. Hopefully not leaving too many battered TCR cars in his wake.
Yeah, hopefully not. He just, again, it's all about that patience. And, you know, Will is a very exciting young driver, but it is often with the younger drivers in the field that you see that sort of inexperience and that impatience creeping in. And yeah, well, I mean, I'm not young anymore, but even I can be guilty of being too impatient sometimes. But you know, it's exciting to watch, but not always for their benefit. You know what I mean? So Will Redford goes past Reece Watt, as in the background Ben Hicks has gone past Mark Redford. Right at the front of the field, though, let's not forget Sam Smith leads this race for they race esports. He's now making his way through the latter part of the circuit, but Terje Flaten is the next car in the field, and he's got his teammate Nick Clibbons in third. So 2 iRace Esports on for a podium finish at the moment, and they've got a little bit of a buffer as well, because Ian Manners and Martin Shirley behind them, they're battling for AM positions, so no loss of championship points if either of them put them under pressure.
Yeah, it's all about, like you say, about putting on pressure, about withstanding it as well. But Ian Manners has been so great, isn't he, so far? He's going to, I think, lose out here because Martin Shirley in the Hyundai Elantra, it's very quick in a straight line, I think, especially compared to, for a second there, I thought the Honda was going to go back, but to the Honda, it's just that little bit faster, I think, in terms of top end. Look at that diving move up the inside. He judged it nicely, to be fair. Didn't run wide into him. Parked it onto the apex at the inside. Didn't quite work out, but that was a great little look up the inside by Will Redford.
But again, he doesn't need to be doing this at this sort of pace. No. Maybe it's all in his pursuit of Terje Flaten, but he just doesn't need to be attacking it so aggressively. He's down the inside now into the second to last, and he's going to go through on Ian Manners, and if Ian knows what's good for him, I think he'll just let him by, as Reece Watt now has looked down the inside. Ian tries to retaliate on Will Redford, though. I'm afraid Kyron O'Malley's evening has got a little bit more difficult. Car going one way and then the other, and hopefully he gets a safe return to the circuit. He does indeed, and there's been a drama here, Ed, for one of our championship protagonists, Jose Scully. Oh, he's run wide. Oh, it's contact with Martin Kenyon. Well,
Martin had a bit more track to use there, I think. For me, that goes into, he's gone into the side of Scully. I'll have a look. You can use all of that green Astro.
Yeah. Not sure that all drivers know that, though. That's the thing we've got to consider, but I think you're right. There was definitely more room on the left there that Martin could have left, and Jose Scully's night, well, it suddenly got a lot more difficult in terms of the championship as well, because if the gap was going to go up to 21 points before, well, even with those extra points that he would have lost, what would it have been after that? Another 2, so it would have been 23 points. And now, with Martin Shirley leading the class, Well, he's going to be scoring a bucket load more than Jose Scully right now, and to be honest with
When
you,
it rains, it pours, though.
it does, mate.
He was already off to a bad start at the start of the evening, finishing in 4th compared to his rival that finished in 1st and 6th overall on the grid, which was, of course, pole position for the second race. So it just compounded onto him, and it's gotten even worse in this second race.
Yeah, he'd lose another 14 points from this point on, so it'd be 37 points with a maximum of 40 from each race meeting, and that just shows you again how quickly the championship can open up, because there was only 13 points between them coming into tonight, but all it takes is one bad meeting for one driver and one good meeting for another, and that is, unfortunately for Jose, that's just how championships work. You know, that's sport, that's competition, that's racing. You can't win them all. And I mean, like I say, he's been remarkably inconsistent this season, as we spoke about before, as Jose Scully, and the fact that he's still up there for a championship fight despite that is good testament to his pace and his capability. Now, Will Redford has just done the fastest lap again, Ed.
That's absolutely rapid pace, isn't it, from Will? But it comes down to it, isn't it? It's not about losing the championship at one round. It's the whole season that makes the championship. And like you were saying, Chaz, it's that inconsistency that we saw at the start that I think has hurt him more than the unfortunate incidents tonight.
Yeah, that's it. You have to look at a bit of everything, don't you? You know, you don't want you don't want sort of a tiny moment to overshadow a full evening of really strong racing, you know, and great pace and capability.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to as well. I mean, I know what it's like to finish second in a championship after fighting up at the front for so long. It's not pleasant, but you've got to look at the whole season and be proud of the moments where you were at the very top of your game. You can't obviously keep it up for a whole season long. You can take what joy you have of just racing with other people. It's not necessarily about the destination, but about the journey you take on the way across the whole season. And I think that's something that Scully over the course of the season can be very proud of, because he's had some excellent races. I mean, he's had some top performances so far this season. It's a shame that tonight hasn't worked out, but there's still another round to go.
There is indeed. Still one entire race meeting, and well, even things can change there as well.
Things can change in this race. I mean,
Yeah.
you can see Shirley is being closed up to with Manners. They're still, you know, within a second of each other.
It's very true indeed. Points can go one way and then the other very quickly, as we
Shirley's
found
actually
out.
closing on Redford, and keeping up with Redford rather. So as long as you're anywhere near Redford, there's a chance for things to happen.
There certainly is, yeah. We've learned that tonight. Let's look at this now. Sam Smith and Taylor Flarton begin their battle. Taylor was a second faster than him on the previous lap. He's been very, very quick indeed. As now, down the inside again goes Sam Smith. Taylor's just going to patiently and calmly take this back down the inside.
Whoa.
Oh, but there's that move again. Now that justifies what we saw earlier with Eystein Herfjord in trying to open up that corner, and not me thinking he's trying to intentionally wreck somebody. Sorry, Eystein. But Sam Smith gets quite the knock from a lot of netcode, it has to be said, down the inside from Taylor Flarton. That won't go down well, but he won't know right now that it was netcode that pretty much caused that contact. As whoa, I hope that car's not broken. It looks like that front left wheel is, though. It doesn't look like it's completely above board and where it normally would be. What is going on with Sam Smith? Let's go on board and see.
He's just slightly to the right, I think.
Only
there's a car.
Whoa.
It's not stopping.
It's not stopping.
It's not stopping.
It's not stopping. What on? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! That's the sort of time where you hate the physics. What
I think his brakes won't work. I think he had a stuck throttle or something. I've never seen something like that, but he just kept accelerating. It was not stopping at all. He was. So we're going to go on board, I think, from here until the contact. And we're going to see what happens after.
Just shows you how realistic the sims could be, though, because I got scared. Right, so he's had the hit. I'm wondering whether if he's on a direct drive wheel or something, whether it's affected, like, you know, even if it's shaken the rig in the tiniest way. The car
Maybe connection from the wheel to the pedals.
Yeah, the car didn't seem to accelerate very well. Right, he's off the throttle, but the brakes clearly aren't working.
No.
Let's go on the chopper cam and see if we can see brake lights. See if we can see them come on. I don't want to go as unrealistic as a chase camera, because I hate that. We'll see from here whether we get brake lights from Sam Smith. No, absolutely none. Absolutely none. That's the scary bit. because, I mean, it really...
I think the brake lights come on as soon as he hits the wall. Is those brake lights on now?
I think they were, yeah. That's devastating. But that was, I mean, again, I reiterate, scary to show you how realistic the sim is. As wow, Will Redford has a hell of a moment. It actually scared me, that, going towards the wall. I flinched. You know, scary, scary moment. But
I think it's scary as well because you've been to this track and you know the speed that cars travel up towards turn 1, and you know what happens if the car doesn't have any brakes going into the corner where you're having to brake the hardest around this, especially this layout of Red Bull Ring. It is not a pleasant thought to think about if this wasn't in the virtual world. If this was full metal racing, that would have been a horrible incident. But thankfully, everyone is okay. We can carry on racing if that is the case, because it is. Taye Flaherty, I mean, he's gotten ahead of Nick Clemens. He had to come all the way through the field and had to have some good scraps, but now he's got clear air. He can really enjoy himself for these next 10 minutes.
I'm just chilling out now.
He is.
Just trying. I'm just trying to calm down. I mean, like, scared the life out of me. Genuinely, like one of them moments where your stomach just goes. But there has been a moment here in MotoGP as well where a rider has had a brake failure about where Will is now, and then he's jumped off the bike and it's just gone straight on. It's absolutely horrifying. But yeah, I think the only potential is that just, I mean, it couldn't have really been a coincidence that there was a tiny bit of contact and then suddenly something stopped working. You and I have both seen it before, that a mere shake of the rig can cause connections to go funny. My throttle pedal, for example, you know, if you just lean on the pedal plate a little bit, the weight of something in the pedal basically moves it. Yeah, there you go, White Van Gaming in the chat. It's Maverick Vinales. It was him that had to jump off the bike. There's an amazing rear view camera that catches him departing the cycle, let's say, and it carries on towards the wall, and it is horrifying. 2020 that was, but still, we'll have to just hope Sam's all right. Of course, I'm sure he will be. Just very angry. But the race carries on now. Nick Clibbins second, Will Redford third.
I say, if you want to calm down, this is not the view to have, because Nick Clemens is going to be feeling all sorts of pressure and fear from Will Redford closed in behind. I think if we wanted to have a bit of a chill time, we'd go on board with the race leader, because he's got absolute daylight in front and daylight behind. You go on board, sit in the passenger seat and have a lovely time, I think, even if he would complain about the extra weight that's being put on.
Especially with me in the passenger seat.
I didn't say it, Chaz, I didn't say that. But Nick Clemens, he's not in a chill place whatsoever. He's got one of the quickest and probably one of the more exciting drivers for at least for us to watch, but maybe not for you to have in your rearview mirrors. You're not feeling excitement at all. You're feeling, well,
fear.
Unpleasant.
I'm more unpleasant about the fact that, look at that helmet design that Will Redford's wearing. It's terrifying. I'm not quite sure what face that is on it, but it's absolutely creepy as hell. Don't like that. Well, neither does Nick Clibbins, because he says, nah, go on, you maniac, go through. Will certainly...
Don't have a rearview mirror.
No, exactly. He's certainly shown that he's got the pace, though, as Will Redford, and fair play. You know, Nick knows not to fight him too hard. Nick's second in the championship. He knows that he doesn't need to. He's not got anything to prove against Will. Will's 10th in the championship after only doing one race meeting so far, and Nick knows that he can just score a good amount of points and still be safe with that second place. Here's Ben Hicks chasing down Ian Manners. Now, he could really do Martin Shirley a favour here if he puts a bit of pressure on the AM driver ahead, because Martin Shirley has a it was 2.1 seconds a moment ago. It's about 1.9 now. That's his lead in the AM class anyway, and he's starting to maybe just breathe a sigh of relief, because he will have done everything he can do tonight to open up that gap on Jose Scully in the AM Championship.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be perfect for him coming into the final round of the championship. I think when it comes down to it, all he would need to do is finish, I think, because depending on how many points you get points all the way down to 10th place in both classes. Depending on how many drivers turn up, all he would need to do is finish the races as it stands.
Yes, absolutely, and we all know that that's not
easier said than done.
Yeah, well, I was going to say not the most difficult situation, but you're right, though. You're absolutely right. Simon Price in the chat saying I had a front brake pad fall out of my Ninja once, only realised when I was approaching a roundabout. Oh, good God.
That sounds nightmarish. As someone who's got people that ride bikes in the family, I mean, my dad was blown off his bike at one time and had his nice new leathers cut off him.
Oh, heck.
Not pleasant. He bought them and they were pretty dear. And then immediately, the first time he went out on them, of course, they had to be needed, but I suppose it's better to spend that money and have to use them. But I can totally empathise because I've been a passenger on a bike before, and even though it's perfectly fine, you're still like, oh my word, this is quick, this is spooky.
Oh yeah, it's a different type of speed. You're so exposed.
Even though
to everything.
you are going at the speed limit, of course.
Oh,
it's
always.
still a bit spooky.
Yeah, spoopy. But yeah, it really is. It's just a different experience.
If you met my dad, you'd know when he's got a passenger on board, he rarely goes above 30. He's a very, a very scaredy cat.
Oh, my uncle scares the life out of me with the idea that he's just turned 70 and he's got a Hayabusa, and he absolutely loves the thing. He's had a couple of Hayabusas and he absolutely loves them, and well, you've got to ride it to its performance. Let's just say that, and that's what he does. Anyway, Ben Hicks now having a go at Ian Manners. Ian won't fight this too hard, I don't think, because he doesn't want to lose a bucket load of time to the man that seems to share the same passion for metallic purple, as he makes his way now. 6 places gained, actually, for each of these drivers over the course of this race, so a solid performance by them both. Eystein Herfjord has gained 5 from where he started, despite his earlier incident. He's up into the top 10. Jose Scully is currently 5th in his class. We're just about to hit 20 minutes. There it goes. And it does actually mean that Ben Hicks and Ian Manners are the 2 biggest movers in the field so far, Ed. And to be honest, it's not the biggest field in the world, and sometimes it can be quite easy to gain a few places in TCR racing with how argy-bargy it gets and the sort of normality of contact, but even still, you've got to keep it on the road yourself and get the job done. So hats off to these pairs so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking now at Taye Flatt yet again with the fastest lap of the race so far, 54 dead. Ahead of Will Redford, he sets his personal best, but 10th shy of the race leader, such as Taye's pace. I mean, all season long, and he's not necessarily miles quicker than everyone else, but he's quicker everywhere. That's the thing. It's not like he has certain tracks that are good from certain tracks aren't. He's been good at every single track, Chaz. And that's the mark of, I think, a champion, is that they can turn up no matter where they go. If it's a track that they like or dislike, they get the results and they have the pace.
Yeah, it's a real shame, isn't it, to be honest with you, that none of the other drivers can seemingly do anything about it. It's
annoying because you see drivers, and there are drivers that at different rounds will scrap with him and take the fight to him. And we saw it last time out, that there were quite a lot of drivers that would be able to take it and properly scrap with Taye Flatten, but it's always different drivers that have come up to challenge him. It's not been the same driver challenging and being able to get those championship points consistently across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we always say that sometimes you do get the drivers that don't win every race, and you know, they don't dominate. I mean, look at, I think, was it which year was it now? 2019, when Colin Turkington won the British Touring Car Championship, and he had 1 race win all year. You know, out of 30 races, he had 1 race win. There was loads of drivers that won more races.
I mean, he came close to doing it this year as well.
Yeah, he did, yeah. And I think he only won... Actually, no, he won a lot more this year. He won like 5 races, didn't he? But still.
But he still wasn't as electric as you'd imagine him doing in the past, was he? But he was
no. But that's what Colin's like, though. You know, he can be under the radar for an entire season and no news is good news, you know, and come to the end of it, and that's that. You can hear drivers battering that curb at turn 1. I think Nick Clibbons has just more than Nick clipped it, to be honest. He's just smacked the bottom of the car off it.
Nick clobbered it rather than clipping it.
It's a bit of a difficult one to get a joke out of that name, isn't it?
Yeah,
sorry, Nick. Surely we can do better than that.
Oh,
I'm done.
I've been trying to work one in, because I was just trying to get a surely you can't be serious, but he is serious, and you can call him Shirley.
Oh aye. I think I've literally just had one go over your head as well. Ben Hicks then in 5th place. Ben Hicks in 5th. We've just gone for the same joke, Ed. That's what we've done. We've got.
I mean, it's a stolen joke. It's not even ours.
No, very much so. Very much so. Right then, 2 minutes left to go here. Taye Flatten leads. Will Redford 2nd. Nick Clibbons 3rd. Martin Shirley is in 4th. He's got this man, Ben Hicks, just behind him for now. Ben Hicks wants to take 4th place overall in this race, which would confirm him as the biggest mover in the field. 7 places that would be gained from the start. And to be honest with you, I don't think Martin will fight it too hard if Ben reaches the back of that Veloster. Jose Scully is still 5th in the AM class. As you can see, he's 10th overall right now, and he's about half a lap behind Martin Shirley, so Martin doesn't need to worry too much at all. In terms of Reece Watt and Mark Redford, they're going to be pretty much tied on points still after this, depending on penalties and the whatnot, because Reece Watt is ahead of Mark Redford by 1 position, and it was the other way around in race 1, so this could all still be very close indeed. Now we've got Taylor Flatten is just coming through turn 1. This shows you how short the circuit is. He's a third of the way around a lap now. He's onto turn 2. But I think we're going to get one more lap after this one, to be fair, Ed, because we've got about 50 seconds left.
Yeah, well, that gives Ben Hicks a bit more time to see if he can get ahead of Martin Shirley. And I have to say, Ben has really impressed me tonight, even though he had that little moment early. The way he's come back from it, I think shows he's a very sensible driver. We've seen all the time across various different races and championships on iRacing that when a driver has a bad first race, they get a bit aggressive in the second race and however many other races there would be in the night. And that just sort of gets them on a downward spiral. But Ben's had a bit of a mental reset, I think, between race 1 to race 2. And he's been nice and cautious and measured about how he's gone about this. Not done anything silly, just been, pumping out the lap times, keeping his nose out of trouble. And he's already up into the top 5 and potentially top 4 after getting ahead on Martin Shirley. I mean, he will be top 4 regardless in his class. And I think that sensibleness is, or I don't know, sensibleness, is that even a word? He's very sensible, and that's showing that he's not actually going to go for a move here. He's quite happy to sit in behind because he knows he won't get any more points. No unnecessary risks.
Yeah, that's it. You just need to know when to push, and when pushing is the worst thing you can do. This man, well, it doesn't seem like he pushes or doesn't. He just absolutely goes, and it's 2 out of 2 tonight once again. Taylor Flatten wins both races at the Red Bull Ring, really cements that championship now. Will Redford finishes 2nd. What a great drive again from him. And Nick Clibbons means it's a repeat of the podium from the first race. And Martin Shirley puts one hand on the AM Championship. 4th overall, wins the AM class. To Ben Hicks and Ian Manners. Reece Watt rounds out the AM podium. Mark Redford is next up, with a bit more work to do to beat Reece in the final round of the season. Eystein Herfjord finishes 9th, and Jose Scully is going to finish in 10th place, 5th in his class, and unfortunately it's just not been his night for championship points. But Taylor Flatten, well, he's going to disappear from your screens right now. Well, let's look at Martin Shirley, shall we? Because Martin, well, he's going to be over the moon with tonight. That could not have gone much better for him, Ed.
I don't think it could have done. No, he's in the perfect space now to come into that final round and do the business. You just either bring it home, but we know that he doesn't want to do that. He wants to secure the championship in the best possible fashion by coming out on top and winning every single race that he has the chance to compete in.
We've got Paladin in the YouTube chat saying Flatten should only get used tyres from now on. He's simply too fast. To be honest with you, I think he should get no tyres from now on and just drive on the rims.
Be put on wet tyres.
Just put him on the rims and probably still be just as quick, to be honest with you. But what another amazing race that we witnessed there. Plenty of touring car style action, and another strong result for the newly crowned champion, Taylor Flatten. Car 1P1 once again. That is his 11th race win of the season, and he's competed in 12 of the 14 races that we've had. Amazing, amazing domination. Will Redford in 2nd. Another strong race from Will, despite the incidents in the early stages. Nick Clibbons finishes in 3rd again, with Ben Gregory, another great drive, into 4th place. Sam Smith is 5th, another top 5 for Sam. Martin Shirley, like I said, one hand on the trophy now for the AM class, surely, with that result. Hakon Ask finishes 7th, ahead of Mark Redford, 2nd in the AM class. Reece Watt rounds out the AM podium. Jose Scully rounds out the top 10. He will not be too pleased with this evening. 4th in class, apologies. I said that he was... Oh, it's Ian Manners has dropped down, actually. Oh, no. You know why, don't you? Oh, crying out loud, Chaz. I'm looking at the wrong results. I did wonder. I wondered about Ben Gregory. So there we go.
Well, the scary thing is I didn't pick up on it. I
know.
Pick you up on it.
I thought it was... Oh, God, someone fire me. Jakob!
Oh.
Right then, Taylor Flatten wins. Will Redford 2nd, Nick Clibbons 3rd, Martin Shirley 4th, Ben Hicks 5th, Ian Manners, Reece Watt and Mark Redford next up in the AM class. Eystein Herfjord 9th, Jose Scully rounding out the top 10. See, I got that bit right. Ben Gregory was 11th, Martin Kenyon was 12th, Hakon Ask was a lap down, and then we lost Sam Smith, Kyron O'Malley and Jason Morris from the race.
Oh, word. You're an FIA grade commentator as well, Chaz.
Oh,
That's worrying, that.
don't be saying that. Oh, good Lord, no. Oh, no.
Oh, that was brilliant, though. I think we can forgive both of us for what happened tonight because, I mean, the racing, it was brain frying. I think is a good way to describe it. There was so much action. There were times where I was, what are we talking about? There are actually people listening to this. Hello, everyone. But I'll tell you what, the racing has made up for it more than anything else. It has been an amazing evening, even though the podiums have been the same in both races. That doesn't tell you that any bit of the story, does it?
Not one bit, but hopefully we can get some of the story from Mr. Will Redford, who joins us in the box once more. Will, another very exciting night for you. Maybe not fully went to plan, but to be honest, you had some solid touring car racing out there. Talk us through it, mate.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. Received a bit of contact in there, which I never want to have, especially when there's two cars that end up off. But I'd like to think they're not entirely my fault. But yeah, you know, it was a lot of fun. First race with Hereford, is it, in the Audi?
Yeah.
I think he didn't quite realise where I was, and then we sort of touched in, was it the third corner, and he got spat off in the gravel. And then in the second race, it was me and Ben going for the same space on the track. I was sort of trying to get a side draft, and he was trying to squeeze me even more. And we just ended up coming together, and it unfortunately put him in the wall. So I'm sorry to both of them for that, because I never want to have contact, but it was good racing nonetheless.
Well, that's it. I mean, the just in the Discord now, actually, Aystein has said that he was in the wall 3 times tonight, and all of them were his fault. So I think you don't need to worry too much about Aystein there. But it was one of those nights where, especially on a small circuit like this, you get the need as a driver to really push for opportunities, don't you? You know, it's very, very tough to sort of find space and find time around tracks like this.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of corners around here, and especially when you're trying to fight. Sorry, I don't want to butcher these pronunciations and names, but just when you're trying to fight Flatten in the lead, and we're both doing the exact same times every single lap, it all comes down to like the first few laps on where you can gain the gap. I wasn't expecting to be as competitive I was in the Honda, because I joined the practice session and then I was like nearly a second off the pace of him, so I was expecting to be further down the order. Then we got into qualifying and he seemed to lose a load of time, and then race 1 as well, it seemed the Honda was very consistent, whereas he dropped off towards the end. So, you know, it was a race of 2 halves really, just being consistent and throughout the entire race. But obviously at the start you need to make up the time, because if you don't do it there, then you're not going to get it back.
Absolutely, and that's the thing, you need to do it in the early stages when the field is nice and close together as well, so people can't streak off into the distance. It's been great fun having you on the grid, to be fair, Will. It may not be a full campaign, but will we see you back for the final round at Zolder?
Yeah, you should do. I'm enjoying it, you know, just hopping in for a bit of fun. I'm not taking it super seriously with loads of practice, but, you know, it's been a lot of fun and I am enjoying it.
Well, we look forward to having you back, Will, and always a pleasure to have a chat with you. Is there anyone else that you'd like to give a quick shout out to while we've got you tonight?
Well, shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast, and shout out to my dad. I'm not sure where he finished. I've not watched back yet, but big well done to him.
Lovely stuff. And, well, we look forward to having you in the final round at Zolder, Will, but for now, enjoy the rest of your evening, mate. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, mate. See ya.
Well, I've seen quite the positive comment in the Discord server between Mr. Redford and the driver that he came into contact with, unfortunately, at the start of that race, Ben Gregory, who joins us in the box. Ben, it was just one of those moments where the cars seem to have magnets attached to them, I believe, where they just sort of go one way then the other, and you know, you're all trying to squeeze each other just to get that sort of mental edge a little bit, aren't you? And then it can all go to pot very quickly here on iRacing.
Yeah, I was getting a bit over-aggressive. I was like, oh, I'm in second, I'm going to hold this. And it's like, yeah. But I shouldn't have squeezed as hard as I was. And I actually hold my hands up, and he's held his hands up. It's one of the things. Pitted cars going for a safe bit of space. Unfortunately, ends up underneath pitting. I probably didn't actually have as much damage as I thought, and I shouldn't really have pitted, but it was better to be safe than sorry. I didn't really know the front end was hanging off. It was good still. Good fun still.
Well, I was going to say, to be fair, Ben, I think any of us would have pitted after the hit that car took into the wall flipping out. I don't think any car in the world, if the sim was that realistic, I don't think you would have made it past the next corner, to be honest with you. But still, fair play to you for getting back on it and, you know, still going out there and scoring championship points, because with, the entries are dwindling down slightly towards the end of the season. It's just what happens in sim racing. It's no fault of anybody, but I think really you have to just be there to just pick up those extra few points, and you never know what that might mean for the championship, do you?
Oh, I'm well out of the championship anyway, but you've got to be in it to win it. You can't just not turn up all the time. Says the person who almost didn't turn up last week. Yeah, just turning up, just having fun. This is more fun for me, so I'm just enjoying racing with everyone.
Well, and that's the thing, there's some fantastic people in the championship, and everyone seems to be in it for the right reasons, so it's wonderful to see that. And I know that Jakub Szymanski, he's put a lot of time and effort into all of this as well. I know a lot of people, they're not always agreeing with everything that he says, but as a series admin, you can't please everybody, and I know that firsthand. And you've seen me witness that and have that thrown my way firsthand, and even you've had it as well. It's not an easy job, but still, it's been a very, very good season so far, and one more race meeting to go. Zolder next up. What do you make of going there?
I've not driven Zolder in a long time, actually. As long as it's not that weird, faster chicane, and it's the proper chicane, I'm happy. But, I've not really driven it for a long time. It's been the Kias was the last time I drove.
Oh, God, I've still got footage of me bouncing off the final wall there for Leo Bodner from back in 2014. Flipping God, I feel old now. Anyway, it's going to be exciting to see how that final race meeting goes. Ben, is there anyone that you'd like to give a quick thanks to while we've got you?
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks to everyone for giving me a good race. Sam Smith was a really good sport and good to fight side by side with that entire for a lot of that first race. Sorry to Will again for getting contact, but yeah, good fun.
Lovely stuff. Well, always a pleasure, Ben. Thank you very much for joining us, mate, and we hope to see you at Zolder.
Yeah, see you then.
Well, there you go. And again, Ed, we highlight the fact that people get on very well in this championship. We're going to see the incident now in slow motion as well, just to go with it. But you can see that both of them, Ben does move over a tiny bit, Will moves over a tiny bit as well, but it just happens. And it's good that both of them have said, like, they're very sorry about it. But, they both felt a bit of responsibility. I cannot believe that car then carried on racing to the very end. I think, to be honest, Ben got quite lucky with that one, if anything, really.
Yeah, it was, but like I said, when we saw it, it looked a bit bad for Will, but when you see it in the slower vision, it does appear to be 50-50, 6 of one, half a dozen the other, but you live and you learn, and hopefully both drivers realise that it does take two to tangle, doesn't it? A 50-50 incident, if you take your 50% out of it, there's not going to be an incident, even if it's not necessarily your fault, and I think that's something I've had to take on board quite a lot, and hopefully we'll see it. But it's great as well, because a lot of the times in iRacing, better than anyone, Chaz, TCR leagues have a bit of a reputation about them, but everyone's been quite friendly tonight, which is really good to see.
Yeah, definitely, and you're right, though, they do have a bit of a reputation about them, because usually, the drivers can be a little bit more, they want contact to be a bit more normal, because there's not many cars on iRacing that you can have the tiniest bit of contact with and get away with, and then a lot of time, because there is sort of that ability to lean
give
on
them an inch.
Yeah,
they take a mile.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one man that took a mile tonight, but in a very good way, and disappeared a mile off up the road once again. Taya Flatten joins us in the chat. Another wonderful night for you, mate. 2 race victories, and well, it just looked like a bit of a doddle for you. But I mean, the second race, you started to work to get through the order. Talk us through it.
Yeah, tonight was fun as always, and I had some luck that Will was held up both in the first race and the second race, because he was slightly faster than me tonight. So I knew I had to create a gap early because he was faster at the end. But yeah, it was really fun. And the second race, it was crazy. A couple of laps there, but luckily I stayed cool and waited for the gaps, and I could win again.
Well, that's it. We were talking throughout the race, actually, about the patience required, even in touring car racing. A lot of the time, people say if it's like a long, hour-long, 3, 6, 9, 12-hour race, you've got to be patient. But even in 20 to 25-minute sprint races in touring cars, you have to have a bit of patience about you as well, don't you? Because a lot of people go for the moves very early on, and you need to be the one to survive them to then make your own moves later on.
Yeah, and now with this tire model, it's we have no grip at all the first on this track the first 5, 6, 7 laps. So I knew if I was together with the rest of the pack those laps, I could start to make some moves after we get some heat in the tires. But yeah, it's I come from karting, and there we also have 20-minute races, so I know the finish flag is always at the end of the 20 minutes, not at the beginning.
I quite like the slight analogy on that one. That's good. But yeah, I suppose it's all about knowing what the tyres are doing and when. And to be honest, as you've seen, and as I've just seen you've commented on the YouTube chat as well, you're not getting any more tyres for the rest of the season. We're going to put you literally on the rims and then see how you can do there. But to be honest, you know, we say it every time. Your pace has been phenomenal this season, and we look forward to the final race meeting of the season. Is Zolder a circuit that you enjoy? Are you looking forward to it?
No, not really. I've driven the track a couple of times, but it's not a track for me. And I'm going to Italy this Thursday and going back home on Monday, so I don't have much time to practice. So I'm just gonna be there for fun and see what we can do and race my gold car one more time.
Yeah, the gold car does look lovely. So hopefully we can see it get another race victory in the final round. But again, Taya, thank you very much for joining us, mate. And is there anybody you'd like to say thanks to before you go?
Yeah, as always, my girlfriend and my family, the whole Ignium crew, Øystein and Håkon, and you guys for creating a great broadcast that I can watch back tomorrow, and of course Jakob for making this league so we can drive and have fun.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Taya. We will see you in a week's time. Enjoy your time in Italy as well.
Same to you. Bye.
Cheers. Well, I don't know about him, but I'm not going to Italy. But either way, I have to tell you what, though, Taya Flaten is probably the only person that can really nicely tell us that he's not looking forward to another circuit and still make it sound really genuine and friendly. He's such a great bloke, isn't he, Ed? And to be honest, it's so heartwarming when you have a driver like that is so fast and so dominant, but he's just such a great guy to speak to as well. You know, he's a very deserving champion, not just for the fact that he's rapid, but because he's a good guy. You know, he's one of the good ones.
Yeah, it's annoying. He's good at everything, and he's nice, and he's wonderful. It's just too perfect. It's got to have something wrong with him. Maybe he likes... he puts chocolate in the fridge, or doesn't put chocolate in the fridge. We've had this discussion before, Chaz.
Yeah, it's very true.
And you've gone deathly silent. Anyway.
I'm just trying to process the idea of it, to be honest. But you know, it's one of those things. You know, these people are just great to be around, and we do get a very solid community behind us within sim racing and within NEVO. So it's lovely to see a big recap and it all getting rounded out like that. But Zolder, next up, Ed. Well, I like Zolder. I hate driving it because I am so awful around there, to be honest with you. But it's one of those things. It's never been a circuit I'm good at, but it's a tough one, isn't it?
I absolutely love it. It's a track that for some reason has always suited me and been one that I've always enjoyed racing around. It's going to be one that the drivers are going to be having to be on their best behaviour, though, because track limits, especially through the second chicane, it can be an absolute nightmare, and cars that will understeer, like these TCRs, to get it right every single lap will take a big effort. So I don't look forward to the drivers in that aspect, but I do envy the drivers in terms of the fact they're going to be driving in such a brilliant circuit, and hopefully as close as they were tonight. And if so, we will be in for an absolute treat.
Yes, we will indeed. Well, thank you, Ed. It's been a pleasure to have you back in the box with me again, and I look forward to the final round of the season. Thank you, everybody, for watching as well, and of course to our amazing drivers for providing such great entertainment. We look forward to next time round. In 1 week's time, we will complete the NEVO TCR Series at Zolder. But for now, enjoy the rest of your evenings, everybody, and we'll see you again in a week's time. Good night.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car. Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.